Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. This is the part you've all been waiting for, the CVT transmission teardown from this 2010 Nissan Rogue. It's back on the road, my wife's driving it, and now I have this thing to play with. But I do want to return it to the Nissan dealership because this was an $800 core charge for this thing. So there's some very specific rules, and it all has to be assembled, packaged in the original box over there. Everything has to be sealed up. So if I tear it apart, I better put it back together pretty much the way it came. So hopefully I'll get my core charge back, and hopefully we'll all learn something about how these CVTs work and what goes wrong with them. We still haven't found out exactly what was wrong with the old transmission. So I have it all cleaned off here, and I'm going to try to stay organized. A couple boxes. There isn't much in the way of teardown information. All I could find on all data was this kind of internal diagram. Didn't come out very good, but here's the torque converter. It looks like there's a chain driven oil pump. And right there is the big metal belt that transfers power from the primary to the secondary pulley. And then that drives the final gear, and your axles, front drive axles come out there. And for the all-wheel drive, we have a separate, differential unit. So we'll start by at least taking out the torque converter, seeing if we can maybe locate this chain. We can work from the underside, remove the valve body, see if the pump is accessible from there, and just kind of go by feel. Well, take the path of least resistance, hopefully not lose any parts, and it should be fun. So let's get to it. Alright, let's start off by removing this little plate. And this plate is there for a reason, because this torque converter will just fall out. Ask me how I know. I'll show you. So this guy just simply slides out of here very easily. I'll put that down here. So the day right before the mountain bike race, I was, the transmission was out. I was wearing shoes at the point, but then I changed back into sandals, and then I wanted to kind of move the transmission, to a more convenient spot in the garage, just so it was out of the way. And I go to move it, and then it drops right there on my foot. One of these metal studs goes right into my foot, and then this sharp metal edge slices clean through, and blood just starts gushing out. I'm like, ah. And then I had the mountain bike race the next morning, so bandaged up my foot. The race went pretty well, but just kind of a reminder that when you're done working on a vehicle, it can still get you. So keep that little safety plate on there while the transmission is being transported or moved around. Now, so this is a typical torque converter. What we have here, these two ears, actually spline in to two cavities in there, and that actually drives our pump. So when the engine's spinning, this outer case is spinning with the engine, since it's directly bolted on with these welded on studs, right? And this is directly attached to that case. So when the engine's on, the pump in the transmission is always operating. Now, this is where it gets a little funky. This collar right here is actually fixed to the body of the transmission, I think. And this right here is the input shaft that goes into the transmission, and then everything happens from there. So basically, when the car is standing still and you're in gear, right, and you're on the brake, this input shaft is still while the engine's spinning. So inside the torque converter there's fluid, and that's why you feel kind of a drag. Because the outer case is spinning and it's trying to turn this input shaft, but there's slip going on, you know, through the fluid, and that's, you know, why you feel the car creep. As you get, you know, gain speed, especially in a CVT, the torque converter locks up. It's called torque converter lockup, and that's controlled by, you know, electronically through the valves in here, and the speed, the RPM of the torque converter, you know, the engine, matches the speed of this input shaft when the torque converter is locked up. And that happens pretty early for maximum fuel efficiency, so you don't lose any energy going through your, you know, dragging through your fluid. So, you know, we got the torque converter off, and now so this input shaft, when we're in gear, supposedly we should have power transfer from here to our drive axles, right? But that was not happening when the car broke down. So it'll be interesting to see once we get inside of here what this is connected to and what the final drive is connected to and why there's no power transfer in between. The gear shift lever is tied to this mechanism right here. There's a rod that goes down internally. When you're in park, it's all the way back. So that's park. And then reverse, neutral, drive, and low. So low, let's see, low, drive, neutral, reverse, and park. So it seems like there, what is it, 5 positions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. So that's the initial overview of the exterior. What I want to do now is take off this cooler and this transmission range switch, so when we roll this transmission over, we don't damage these pipes or the switch, because then I won't be able to get my core refund. So let's pop these guys off and go from there. So the transmission range sensor, just 3 bolts. And this guy should just disengage from our little lever here, if we can kind of shimmy it out. There you go. This is just a slider, so we'll keep this together with these. And now for our cooler, this looks like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. That's why we should have drained that, huh? So keep in mind, there's still transmission fluid everywhere. And we should probably, dang. Check it out. Filter. Let me clean this mess up. There's actually quite a bit of oil in this heat exchanger. This is a CVT fluid warmer and cooler. So coolant goes in and out through these pipes, and oil comes in and out of these holes. Alright, so we'll leave that alone. And just to note, there's absolutely no metal fragments or particles or anything in this fluid. It looks spotless, although a bit dark. So I'm suspecting some kind of sudden failure, either a chain snap, clean brake, or maybe a pressure solenoid failure, or some pump seal or something. But there's no metal fragments, which is, I guess a good thing. So when I flipped the transmission over on its side, drained the rest of the fluid out, I heard metallic kind of like pieces in there, kibbles and bits falling off. So I'm wondering if we're on the right track, if it's a chain, either a primary chain problem or that oil pump drive chain. So I guess while it's in this position, we can pop off the valve body assembly on the side here and maybe take a look, see if we can find that oil pump. Alright, let's do this. You would think if it was a catastrophic chain failure, my wife would have heard some bad noise. Right? I'm sure more fluid's going to spill out. Yes! That's what we wanted to see. Kibbles and bits. So it looks like the main frickin' belt did come apart, and there is metal fragments in here. Aha! Look at all the stuff on the magnet. Wow, that is some thick slurry. And boom. Bingo. Now I want to see if, just by taking off this valve body, if we can get in there and see the carnage. Let's pop this filter off, cause more fluid spillage. So 2 short bolts, 1 long bolt. There we go. When do we get to see our belt? I guess the filter did its job, right? We'll put that in our pan. We can even see little bits here. Oh, jeez. This is going to be a fun teardown. See the little pieces just like stuck in there? That's, I think, part of the belt. Ooh, cool. We'll keep our pile growing here. We got more destruction. They're all jammed up in there. So I'm wondering if we can get to this stuff from here, or if we have to take this, maybe just pop this top piece off. I think that's where the main and secondary pulleys hide, right? According to our diagram. So, critical analysis here. This main belt, the metal steel belt that drives, pulley to pulley power transfer, it's made of a steel band with these plates on it. And when one pulley turns, these steel plates kind of go up against each other and push the other pulley to turn. It's not a pull belt, it's actually a pusher belt, according to what I've read online. And just going by material properties, and I know a little bit about metal, and I know that you can only bend a piece of metal a finite number of times before it decides to let go. And you can imagine how many times those metal bands have gone around and around and around under torque, you know, pushing this belt. So 186,000 miles, and this metal band snaps just because of metal fatigue. I can totally see that happening. You know, fluid change would maybe lubricate it a little more, but just the fact that it's bending, no type of fluid is going to prevent eventual metal fatigue and failure in this design. So I guess you can call it an inherent design flaw, but there's kind of no way around it unless they come up with, I don't know, instead of a belt, having something other, you know, like gears or cones or something. I have no idea, but this the bending metal bands is definitely an inherent design flaw in my opinion. So let's get this valve body off of here. I'm not exactly sure which bolts to loosen, so might as well crack all of them loose and then kind of hope that it comes off. Oh, there's more metal pieces falling. Alright, I got all of the bolts loose, and this thing, oh boy, there's kibbles and bits everywhere, guys. Just listen to the pieces of chain drop away. Let's back all these out, all the way out. Carnage. Jeez. So you can see the pieces of chain accumulating right here. That's where all our ringing is coming from. But we still have to wiggle this guy off. Okay, so here's another thing that'll hold me back a little bit. The shifter rod is tied into here. So we have to get that nut off, and I guess I'll put it in, I guess it doesn't really matter, whatever gear, it's splined on there. Get an impact on here, pull this piece off, and that should allow our valve body to come right off. Alright, let's see if we can break this with a just hold the shaft and that comes off. Lock washer, and let's turn this guy somewhere in the middle, and this little rod should come out right there. Sweet. Now our valve body, is it free? Oh boy, that sounds really bad. Alright, come on. Now remember, our wiring connector's holding us back a little bit, but I think we can push that guy through. Maybe disconnect it from... Let's see, take these 3 bolts out. They're all the same length. Get this wiring loom out of the way, and oh, okay, that's just a dowel. Kind of a balancing act here. I don't want to drop any of these bolts unnecessarily. Alright, very cool. Easy does it. finally our electrical connector. Okay, sweet. Set this guy down. Oh, very nice. Kibbles and bits. So that is our pulley, and that is the leftovers of the belt. Get a little light in there. Boom. So it's sheared right off, and that's it. That's kind of fantastic, isn't it? So definitely a catastrophic failure in this guy. And there's the other part of the belt. So we'll try to spin the input shaft and see if that guy turns. Wow. I wonder if we can just replace the belt separately, and this will be like a reman transmission for the next time that it fails in the Rogue. We'll just put this one back in, right? Let's go fishing. Got pieces of band and chain, so I'll just put them all in here so they don't get in the way of further disassembly. And you know, we found the problem for sure, but I think we want to go further, right? Uh-oh, where'd that come from? Don't know. Oh my word. Ooh, there's a whole treasure trove in here. So this belt just freaking exploded. And this car, since it was new, made this, I call it the chainsaw sound. When you're on the highway and you hit an uphill grade and the RPMs go up, it went like, I mean, that must have been the sound of the belt. And how do you know you got all the pieces out? I don't know. Well, there's more here in the pulley area. The question is, did any of these pieces get in somewhere where they weren't supposed to be and actually, you know, damage anything else? Or if you can just get away with installing a new belt. I don't know. Looks like some stuff got jammed in there. So what's the next step here? Where is our pump? That's what I want to know. Where is this chain that drives the hydraulic pump? Now in the picture it showed it being, let's see, here's the torque converter side, right? So this would be the front of the vehicle, and looking at our diagram here, I'm having fun here, guys. Let's see. So we're basically looking at our transmission like this, right? So the chain should be on the torque converter side going towards the front. Here's the torque converter side. I don't see a chain going towards the front. I mean, here's the pickup for the filter. Okay, so there's something under this cover that might be our guy. I don't know if you can see anything in there. This might be our fluid pump. And then, where does the fluid go? There should be a main oil gallery, either going to our cooler. You can see lines going, to the cooler from here, from our valve body. And we haven't looked at this guy yet. Look at all those beautiful solenoids in there. Nothing wrong with those. Okay, there's a little something like a shift fork, possibly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this thing back together, to tell you the truth. There's an oil passage right there. Oh. So is that the like a chain guide or something? Uh-oh, uh-oh. It's like hitting the jackpot. Let's see how many coins we got. So let me do a little digging here, see where we want to go next. If we look closer into this primary pulley, we can see the metal band just freaking jammed up in there. And the belt itself is way off the pulley. So there's a part of the band right in there. This is pretty fantastic, right? You guys getting your money's worth? I don't think I'm getting my $800 core back, but I'm hoping enough people watch this to make it worthwhile. Well, I figure the next easiest and exciting part is to pop off this main cover up here, and we should be able to see the pulleys right there. Primary and secondary pulley. So I think we'll do that next. Alright, here we go. I want to pop off this cover back here too. Set it to 2. Okay. Alright, interesting. That's actually the final drive for the transfer case. And it's engaged. Let me just lift this guy out of here. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. So from here we can actually spin the main drive gear and we'll see if anything's seized up or not. Let's just put this down here for now. Because right now this sucker's stuck. I'm wondering if that's because some of the kibbles and bits fell and jammed up these gears. We're definitely not in park. We're somewhere in the middle. So that parking pole should not be engaged, but it'll become clear soon enough. Let's get these guys out of the way. So I wonder what they do to rebuild these cores. Catastrophic failure like that, there's potential for a lot of damage. Not just to the belt, but to everything that comes in contact with those hundreds of pieces of chain. So I'm going to put these guys, these are all the perimeter bolts. Now I'm not sure if I have to take these middle bolts out. There's 3 over here and 3 over here. They must hold something like a bearing retainer. We can try lifting the whole assembly out, but if it doesn't go, then we'll crack these loose as well. You know what? Let's just take these bolts out, see how long they are. I don't know what they hold. Okay, I see something moving in there, so maybe that'll help us out. Or completely screw us over. I don't know what this guy is. Alright. So 4 bolts there. 1, 2, 3. These are all the same. Okay. 7 bolts. Now, I see that we have these stupid dowel pins in here again that are probably seized. And I don't know what we're going to use to crack this guy. There's a little pry point here. There's another dowel over here. We gotta get this thing off. So I'm going to get my tiny little air hammer, put it on the low setting, a little too low, and try to hammer over here. For this operation, safety third, maybe second. Let's try it. Sweet. Alright, we got a gap. And then we need to do the same thing with this dowel, but we don't have a good access point. Maybe right here. Let's try over here. Can't really get my air hammer in here. Let's see. Try going at it from an angle. If I bust this aluminum case, game over. Man, that dowel, that's a pain in the butt. I keep working it from this side. I don't know where else to pry this thing. I think we're almost home free. Let's keep it going a little bit. Let's work this thing back and forth a little bit. I want to ask the Nissan dealership technicians, have they ever torn apart one of these CVTs, and what is the common failure? So close. Let's keep working it a little bit. Oh, we got some fluid leakage. I think our pan sprouted a leak. Wah, wah, wah. Emergency rag. That won't let that stop us here. It is hanging up on this last dowel. There we go. Now we're talking. Sweet. Are we out? I'm hoping we just pop this thing off. That dowel is stubborn. Okay. Should be in good shape. Now, you'll probably lose some pieces, but don't really care, right? Ho ho ho. Da, 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 da. That is freaking cool.